According to Canon rumors, the Canon EOS R5 Mark II is Canon's big spring announcement, but the announcement may be earlier than originally thought. And based on previous posts stating that the Canon EOS R5 Mark II announcement would occur between May the 21st and the 23rd, that means we can look to May the 14th to the 16th for that big Canon announcement. But as of today, nothing's been scheduled by Canon. But despite the recent rumors of the big R5 II announcement, we're not just getting a solitary announcement of the Canon EOS R5. It's going to be announced alongside another camera. So which one? Well, I'll get to that in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at the recent camera registrations to shed some light on which camera we could see. On February the 4th, 2024, Canon registered 2 cameras in China, a digital stills camera, DS12-6922, which is the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, and a cinema camera, ID 0179. Then on March the 29th, Canon registered another stills hybrid camera, DS12-6928, and that's believed to be the Canon EOS R1, alongside a second cinema camera, ID 0174, that was registered recently on April the 19th. But it wasn't until April the 26th that we found out that Canon had registered a third digital stills camera, DS12-6904. So we know we're getting the Canon EOS R5 Mark II at the announcement, so we know one of the cameras. But the other camera, well, we're not quite sure, and based on the comments I've received from you and other viewers, some people are thinking that it could be a follow-up to the R7, so the R7 Mark II. Some even think that we could get the Canon EOS R6 Mark III, or even a refresh of the Canon EOS RP, a camera that was announced back in February of 2019. I know what you're thinking. Where on earth did I hear this information from? You're thinking that you haven't seen this on Canon Rumors, the Camera Insider, or any other site that reports on Canon leaks and information. And that's because I got this from my own source. Late yesterday, a source came to me providing me with information stating that we're not just getting one camera, but 2 cameras. And one of them is definitely going to be the Canon EOS R5 Mark II. So what's the other one? Well, according to Canon Rumors, the Canon EOS R1 will get some sort of development type announcement. And this information was provided on April the 18th. Okay, so we're getting 2 cameras. One of them is definitely going to be the Canon EOS R5 Mark II, and the other one is definitely not going to be the Canon EOS R1. Well, that makes things a little bit more difficult to predict. Follow along with me here. The Canon EOS R8, that's a couple of years old, and we could potentially see a refresh of that camera. The R3, well, that's a couple of years old too, and we could see a refresh of the R3 and the R3 Mark II, but according to Canon Rumors, that's not supposed to be happening until sometime in 2025. Then we have the R6 Mark II. Now that camera was refreshed about 1.5 years ago. And while it makes sense to refresh this type of camera every 2 years, that would be a pretty recent refresh. And what other cameras could we expect to see? Well, the R7 and the R10 were announced around the same time, and that's about 2 years ago, so we could potentially see a refresh of the R7 with the R7 Mark II. But there's another camera that Canon Rumors talked about that I also talked about as well. We both kind of came to the same conclusion that the EOS RP, that's a camera that Canon hasn't really addressed with the R system. I mean, we've got almost every other camera represented, but in terms of an entry-level full-frame mirrorless camera, and yes, I know what some people are thinking, it could be the R8, but at the price of the R8, which is around $1,500, that's a far cry from the $999 of the Canon EOS RP. So, if Canon's found a way to produce the Canon EOS RP successor, let's call it the R9, for $999, well, then we could potentially see that. Interesting. Oh, I almost forgot. What about the possibility of the R5C Mark II? I mean, after all, we do have 2 cinema cameras that were registered. One of them, which was registered right alongside the Canon EOS R5 Mark II back in February, with registration ID 0179. So not being sure myself, I decided to reach out in a community post, asking what camera could registration DS12-6904 represent? An overwhelming majority of you suggested a type of Canon EOS RP successor at 36%. In second place, a refresh of the Canon EOS R7. 18% of you thought it could be something else, and only 6% of you thought a refresh of the Canon EOS R6 Mark II could be happening. I thought of one other place that I could check to give us a hint as to what Canon could be announcing alongside the Canon EOS R5 Mark II at this big Canon event that's happening sometime in May. So I reached out to check to see what was on sale, and not just what was on sale, but which cameras had a deep discount. Canon dropped the price of the R6 Mark II at $500 off at B&H and Adorama. And once again, Adorama is tossing in a bunch of free stuff with every deal. And what's really interesting here, despite the Mark I and the Mark II being on sale side by side since the R6 II was announced, what, a year and a half ago? There's absolutely no hint of the R6 Mark I anywhere on B&H or Adorama. I just can't find it. $500 off the R6 Mark II, that's a steep discount. That kind of lends credibility to the R6 Mark III coming. I mean, after all, Canon did announce the R6 along with the R5, but only 6% of you think that's the other camera that could get announced alongside the R5 Mark II. The R5 is $500 off at $28.99, with Adorama tossing in a 128 gigabyte SanDisk CF Express Type B card along with a card reader. And the cinema version of the R5, the R5C, well, it's also steeply discounted at $35.99. The R50, well, it's $549. The R8, $11.99. That's lower than the Canon EOS R10, which is $12.99. And the R100, $379. And the Canon EOS RP, well, it's back down to $899. And if you're interested in taking in any of these deep discounts, then please use my links in the description down below. Although I do need to be honest with you, I do get anywhere from 2 to 12% back, which goes to supporting this channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. You get a new camera or a new lens at a steep discount, and I get a small commission back, which really helps support this channel. The best of both worlds, and there's no BS. You don't have to jump through any hoops. But now let's do a bit of a reality check. So again, going back to my source that told me this information, this is a relatively new source that came to me sometime in 2023, and I've gotten to know this source well, and I believe the source when they tell me information. But as is the case with most rumors and information that comes through this desk, it's not just coming directly from one person that has, well, contact with the supply chain or the logistics. It's usually coming through multiple people. So there's always a chance of broken telephone to change things. And while I do trust this source, they have gotten things wrong something like 25% of the time. So definitely do take it with a grain of salt. But there is an awful lot of information flying around about this big Canon announcement. You can hear it, you can feel it, you can just tell by what people aren't saying. And some YouTube channels are dropping hints about they just got a bunch of boxes from Canon. Something big is about to happen. It's going to happen this May. It's going to happen in the United States, Canada, Europe, around the world. Canon is about to make a big announcement. The details are far and few between. Never before have I seen Canon do such a great job of plugging the leaks. I mean, if we go back to 2020 when Canon released the R5 and they made the announcement back on, I think it was July the 9th. Well, we got rumors all the way back to January the 27th, and not vague information, but detailed specifications, frame rates, refresh rates, video resolutions, ISO range, dynamic range, a whole bunch of stuff. And then, shortly after that, we got Canon to confirm with a development announcement. And then about 4 or 5 weeks after that, Canon in Australia came out saying the king is back, giving us a few more hints as to what we could see in this camera, further validating what Canon rumors had put out. And then NAB 2020 is when we really got the surprise of the lifetime. This is where Canon more or less validated everything that Canon rumors had leaked, leading us to believe that this new camera would indeed not only leapfrog the 5D Mark IV, but everything on the marketplace. But here in 2024, the only thing we can seem to gather is that the R5 Mark II is coming out sometime this month, and with that announcement no more than 2 to 3 weeks away, all we know is that it's going to have a 45 megapixel stacked full frame sensor, a whole new design that's going to be backlit as well. Anything else has been, well, vague. 8K RAW, so what? The Mark I has that. What are the resolutions and refresh rates or codecs? Same thing with 4K 120. 4K HQ, resolutions, codecs, refresh rates. we don't have a lot of specifications. So that's what's really strange this time around. Canon's been doing a very good job of plugging the leaks. So when we hear something like this, we kind of wonder, well, okay, it's plausible. I mean, after all, Canon did this back in 2020. They announced the Canon EOS R5, and then they immediately announced in the same event the Canon EOS R6. With the big announcement expected to happen sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we can expect details to start leaking out every day with more information. Maybe we'll find out that new camera, what it's going to be alongside the R5 Mark II tomorrow, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. But things are starting to ramp up. We're going to get more information coming out. No matter how good Canon's doing of keeping this information close at hand, once it's in the retail space, things are going to start to leak out. And I can guarantee you this, before we get to that announcement date and time, as which we don't know at this point, we're going to know the full specifications of this camera, both of them, and any lenses that are to be announced at the same event. And as soon as we know the date and time, I'm going to schedule a live stream because I'm going to cover this event live. I'm going to start it 90 minutes before the announcement. We're going to have an expert panel on to talk about what we think could be in this new camera, the recent specifications, are they accurate, leaked images, and what we would do if we were the CEO of Canon Japan. And then once Canon makes their announcement, we'll follow it live. And I hope to have people with first-on-hand experience with the Canon EOS R5. So we're not too far away. Based on all signs are pointing to definitely a May announcement, with only Canon rumors giving us a specific date range, and that's to be sometime between May the 14th and May the 16th. And you might also notice that I have the smart pre-order links for the Canon EOS R5 down below. Now these links aren't active right now. They will be active once the embargo's lifted, sometime during Canon's big announcement. So why use these smart pre-order links instead of the links that Canon provides? Well, the smart pre-order links for both B&H and Adorama are going to list off every single kit package available. Body alone, body with a kit package, plus whatever B&H and Adorama might decide to package up together, so you can see them all together, you can pick them very quickly, and depending on how long it takes you to pre-order something, that could save you anywhere from 5 to 15 seconds, and that gets you, well, quicker up, or that gets you further up into the queue. So if it's anything like the 200 to 800, you won't end up having to wait something like 3 to 5 months. You'll probably get it within the first shipment, and that's kind of a big deal. I've already pre-ordered, well, I shouldn't say I've already pre-ordered it. I'm dealing with a local camera store, and what happens is you just put your name down. They don't have any fancy system. And so I hope to have the Canon EOS R5 on the first day that it starts shipping. I'm going to go pick it up myself. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this camera is capable of. And right now we know very little other than it's going to have a stacked sensor. But you know, that improves ISO response, low light performance, your ISO range, dynamic range, and of course speed, so that improves rolling shutter. Well, it doesn't improve rolling shutter, it reduces rolling shutter on a sensor that is a rolling shutter sensor. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a great day. Don't be surprised if there's a follow-up video later on today if I'm able to find out what that other camera could be. Or who knows, maybe Canon Rumors is able to come out with something to provide a bit more detail. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you again soon.